You won't even hear it. No sirens, no warning, just silence. And while you're sleeping, thinking the shelves will be there tomorrow, they're already gone. One by one, item by item. Cleared out before your alarm even goes off. Because when a real crisis hits, the first wave isn't chaos, it's absence. The things you didn't think twice about, gone overnight. And here's the thing, this channel isn't here to scare you or tell you to run out and buy everything on this list. That's not our angle. We're not pushing products, we're giving you knowledge. Pure and simple. Because knowing what vanishes first gives you options, and options equals survival. I'm about to walk you through 7 items that disappear while the world sleeps, gear that quietly turns into leverage the moment systems break. It's not viral, it's not trendy, it's real. And it matters more than you think. So if your gut's been whispering that something's off, and you'd rather be early than empty-handed, hit that subscribe button right now. This isn't entertainment. It's survival intel, and trust me, you don't want to wake up too late. Number 1, pry bar. When people imagine survival tools, they picture knives, flashlights, or water filters. But let me tell you something no one's talking about when collapse hits, and structures break down, vehicles get locked, or buildings go dark. A compact pry bar becomes pure power in your hands. And it'll vanish fast because it's one of those tools that professionals grab before the public even knows what's happening. Here's why it matters. When the power's out, doors jam. When you're scavenging for gear, windows stick. When you need to secure your shelter, nothing moves until you move it, and your bare hands won't cut it. A pry bar is your silent enforcer. It pops, wedges, lifts, and breaks through when everything else fails. It's a passive tool with active dominance. Most people overlook it. They think it's a garage tool. But in real collapse conditions, that chunk of steel can save your life. I've used mine to lift waterlogged doors after floods, break open damaged cabinets for emergency supplies, and wedge windows for fresh air in sealed-up buildings. It's silent, it's strong, and it never runs out of battery. Let's talk about mobility. You don't need a 3-foot crowbar. A compact 10 to 15-inch pry bar fits in your bug-out bag, your trunk, or your utility belt. The good ones are forged steel, no weak points, and double-ended for versatility. One end for lifting, the others for ripping. And both ends give you leverage when time, safety, and silence matter most. In a post-collapse world, it also becomes a trade item. Someone stuck behind a jammed basement door? You've got the tool. Someone building a pallet shelter? You've got the leverage. When everyone else is fumbling with screwdrivers and rusted hammers, you show up with solid steel that's not a tool. That's respect. I keep mine wrapped in a paracord for grip and strapped to the inside of my pack where it won't rattle. I've used it more than my knife, more than my flashlight. Because when you need access, you don't ask. You take it. So tell me, you have real-world leverage in your kit? Or are you hoping your bare hands will be enough when the doors won't open? Number 2, bar soap. In a world where the grid's down, water's scarce, and hospitals are either shut or overrun, survival isn't just about food and gear, it's about staying clean, and not the luxury kind of clean. I'm talking about infection prevention, disease control. Bar soap becomes gold when systems collapse, not fancy liquid bottles, not hotel-sized samples. I'm talking about heavy, long-lasting, unscented bricks of antibacterial bar soap, the kind you can't find once panic starts. People always forget hygiene until it hits them in the gut, literally. Diarrhea, skin infections, open wounds. The collapse doesn't come with warnings, but it always brings filth. And without proper sanitation, a small cut turns deadly. That's why bar soap doesn't just clean, it preserves life. When water is rationed and medical help is gone, soap is your frontline defense. You think preppers hoard food and bullets first? Think again. The smart ones grab soap by the case. Liquid soap? Leaks. Freezes. Needs dispensers. Bar soap? Compact. Durable. Zero waste. You can cut it into smaller chunks, trade it, stash it, and it still works even when it's cracked or old. It stores forever, doesn't need packaging, and doesn't rely on plastic pumps or fancy storage. It's just solid, functional protection. And here's the reality: people around you won't have it. That means you're not just surviving, you're holding leverage. In group settings, where hygiene is breaking down and morale is low, you pull out a sealed, full-size antibacterial bar and suddenly, you've got value others would trade meds or food for. Because once the smell sets in and sickness spreads, everyone wants what they didn't stock and soaps at the top of that list. Personally, I keep a dozen bricks vacuum sealed in storage. No fragrance. No gimmicks. Just solid lather, long life, and no nonsense. I've used it in the field during drills, and it's cleaned everything from gear to wounds. When water was low, I used just enough lather to scrub hands, knives, and even cookware. It's not exciting, but when everything else breaks, this small square is crisis control in your palm. So here's the question. Are you counting on hand sanitizer and hoping for the best? Or do you actually have soap in your stack, the kind that might be the last defense between you and the outbreak next door? Number 3. Pain relief creams. When people talk about survival, they always go big firearms, freeze-dried food, filtration, but no one talks about the pain, not the emotional kind, the physical pain. The muscle strain from hauling supplies, the backache after sleeping on cold concrete, the pulled shoulder from chopping wood. When the world shuts down, you feel it in your body first. And if you can't move, you can't survive. That's where pain relief creams come in, and they vanish fast. You might think a little tube of menthol gel or anti-inflammatory cream is no big deal, but wait until your joints lock up from exposure, or your legs seize after 3 days of patrol and 0 sleep. Collapse doesn't come with comfort. It's hard surfaces, makeshift shelters, cold nights, and long treks. The tiniest strain today becomes a major disability tomorrow. And when there are no hospitals to check into and no chiropractors to visit, a $5 cream becomes your only shot at staying mobile. Let's be clear, this isn't about pampering yourself. This is about the tactical edge. You need to move without limping. You need to sleep without jolting awake in pain. You need to stay sharp when the conditions break your back. That cream? It gives you hours of relief enough to make a run, finish a task, or simply survive the night. I've seen people in field drills give up because of calf cramps and shoulder knots. Not because they weren't strong, but because they weren't prepared to treat the pain. And don't forget, pain isn't just physical, it's mental. Chronic discomfort weakens morale, lowers judgment, makes people snap at the worst times. In group survival, one person constantly groaning or slowing the team down becomes a liability. You show up with pain relief? You just bought influence, respect, maybe even a few extra rations. Personally, I carry 3 types: menthol-based, deep tissue salicylate, and lidocaine patches. All sealed, all compact. I rotate them, test shelf life, and pack them flat inside my med pouch. You'd be shocked how many times I've used them just on long hikes, let alone in high-stress situations. When pain strikes, I don't pause, I treat. Because losing a day to sore joints and a collapse, that's not downtime. That's dangerous. So I'll ask you straight, do you have the means to keep moving when the pain sets in? Or are you planning to grit your teeth and hope your knees hold out while the world burns behind you? Number 4, whistle. Let me ask you something real. If the grid's gone, comms are down, and chaos is closing in, how do you call for help? How do you signal across open terrain without giving away your voice or wasting precious battery life? The answer's simple. You don't shout, you don't scream. You blow one tool that's been saving lives for centuries, a high-decibel, metal, peelless whistle. And when a crisis hits, this little piece of gear disappears almost instantly. Most people never think of a whistle as survival gear. They think it's for coaches or lifeguards. But when you're in a collapsed world where yelling alerts threats, where radios fail, and where you need a signal that cuts through wind, smoke, or panic, nothing beats the raw power of a well-made whistle. It takes no power. It doesn't rely on cell towers, and it works even when you can't shout anymore. Here's the reality: collapse doesn't just separate people physically, it silences them. Families get lost in blackouts, groups split during evacuations. People fall into storm drains, forest ditches, or abandoned buildings, and when they do, screaming only goes so far. But a whistle, especially one made of metal, with no moving part, slices through noise like a blade. It's short, sharp, unmistakable. 3 blasts equals, I need help. 1 long blast equals, I found something. Silent coordination becomes possible again. I carry mine on a lanyard inside my jacket. Always metal, always peelless. Plastic ones crack, and anything with a P can freeze or jam. I've used mine during night drills to locate teammates in pitch-black woods. I've trained family members on the pattern because when fear hits, memory fades. But whistle signals? They cut through panic. They're simple, fast, and reliable. You know what else? They're barter gold. When you're traveling and someone's lost a kid in a blackout mall, when someone's partner vanishes in a smoke-filled garage, you hand them a whistle, and suddenly, you're not just prepared, you're a leader. One tool, one sound, full control. Most stores stock them by the dozens until the news hits. Then they're gone. And no one knows how fast they vanish until it's their voice that fails them. So let me ask you, do you have a silent signal in your kit? Or are you counting on your lungs to reach through the chaos when it all goes dark? Because when no one can hear you, the guy with the whistle is the only one that gets found. Number 5. Compact mirror. Sounds strange, doesn't it? A mirror in a survival kit. But let me break it to you straight. When collapse hits, a compact, polished mirror becomes a silent, multi-purpose survival tool. It's not about checking your face. It's about visibility, communication, medical use, and yes, pure leverage when you're stuck in the dark or trying to signal someone miles away. Most people treat mirrors like vanity gear, something soft, fragile, useless outside the bathroom. But in survival, that flat piece of reflective steel is one of the most overlooked tactical assets in your kit. Why? Because it does what nothing else can. It turns light into language, space into sight, and your position into something you can manage, quietly, instantly, without power. Let's start with signaling. Ever been lost in open terrain, or tried flagging down someone without a radio or phone? A polished mirror flashes sunlight for miles. No sound, no battery, just instant visibility. 3 flashes. Pause. 3 again. It's old-school Morse rescue code in the collapse era. Planes, search teams, even distant rooftop camps can catch that glint and know someone's out there. You can't yell that far, but a mirror? It screams across valleys. Then there's the medical use. You've got a cut on your cheek, something in your eye, a tick on your back. How do you treat it when there's no one around? You use a compact mirror to see what others can't see. That tool turns solo survival into controlled field care. You check wounds, clean injuries, remove debris. You adapt. I keep mine stainless steel, wallet-sized, shatterproof. And yes, I've used it to bounce light into dark corners of damaged rooms. I've used it to scan behind me without turning my head. I've even used it to check food in a sealed canister just by angling light into the container. It weighs nothing, it breaks nothing, and it solves everything. You think it's weak until you need it. Then it becomes your backup eyes, your backup voice, your backup light. And in a world where everything breaks eventually, that kind of utility doesn't stay on shelves long. When people realize their phones are dead, radios are jammed, and they're surrounded by shadows, mirrors disappear. And trust me, no one's sharing theirs. So tell me, do you have one packed? Or are you counting on luck when you need sight, signal, or support, and you're all alone? Because in the silence of collapse, the flash of a mirror might be the only proof you're still out there. Number 6. Pocket Notepad plus pencil. When the grid goes down, the silence is deceptive. It's not just the lights or the internet that vanish. It's a memory, coordination, planning. In the modern world, you don't realize how much you rely on devices to think for you until they go dark. Phones die, apps crash, notes vanish. And that's when this small, boring, underestimated tool steps into the spotlight. A pocket notepad and a pencil. It's not flashy. It's not expensive. But it just might become your brain when yours is overloaded. Here's the truth: collapse brings chaos, and chaos erases clarity. You're trying to remember supply counts, barter offers, grid coordinates, water rotation dates, wound care steps, fuel usage, names of people in your group. And when your mind is fried from stress, fatigue, and hunger, you won't recall even half of it. That's where this tiny paper pad becomes mission critical. It locks your strategy in place when your brain can't. Unlike digital gear, it doesn't crash. It doesn't break when dropped. And it doesn't need charging. Just paper. Just graphite. Just pure utility. You can sketch layouts, write emergency instructions, leave messages for your team, or record trades and locations. Need to send someone into a ruined pharmacy to find meds? Hand them a list. Need to leave a warning for the next traveler? Scribble, rip, drop, done. I keep mine weatherproof. Spiral bound. With a stubby mechanical pencil clipped to the top. I've used it to log fuel usage during drills, map quick routes to water sources, even draw symbols for nonverbal comms in blackout zones. When things fall apart, Communication isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a note slipped under a door, a checklist taped to a wall, a coded message left on a windshield. And only those who prepped for low-tech intel will be heard. And here's what most miss: this item becomes barter gold once people realize they can't track anything. When the third power outage wipes their phone for good, they'll trade gear just to get a scrap of order back. A clean notepad and a sharp pencil? That's authority in your pocket. So many overlook it. They go for gear with switches and screens. But this quiet little combo paper and pencil has helped soldiers, mountaineers, and disaster responders for decades. It's not romantic. It's not tactical. But it's essential. So ask yourself, when the power's out, your phone's dead, and memory's failing, will you still remember the plan? Or will your future be the one you forgot to write down? Number 7. Safety pins. Tiny, cheap, completely overlooked. But when the world breaks, safety pins become problem solvers in your pocket. Most people think they're holding clothes together. But in a collapse scenario, they become one of the most versatile, tactical, and silently powerful tools you can carry. And trust me, when the shelves clear and panic sets in, you won't find a single one left. Let's start with clothing. Your jacket tears, your gear strap snaps, your pant leg rips while running from a collapsed fence. You think duct tape will hold under pressure? Think again. A metal safety pin keeps fabric locked under tension, even when you're soaked, moving, or under stress. It's field-tested military, wilderness survival, rescue ops. One pin can hold your setup together when everything else falls apart. But that's just the beginning. Safety pins are first aid tools. Get a deep splinter or need to drain a blister? Sterilize a pin and go. Need to hold a gauze pad in place without wrap? Pin it. Need to secure a bandage to a backpack or your sleeve for fast access? Pin it. They weigh nothing but act like steel when you need them most. I keep 3 sizes in my kit: small for quick fixes, medium for clothing, and large for gear hacks. In one field test, I saw a guy use 2 pins to rig a makeshift sling for a dislocated shoulder. Another time, I used one to pick a jammed zipper when everything else failed. This isn't about sewing. This is about control under pressure and having tools that adapt. Collapse doesn't ask if you're ready. It tears things apart. And when it does, tiny tools become game changers. A safety pin can help you hang gear inside a shelter, secure a mosquito net, even rig a perimeter trip alarm with string. It's not just metal, it's silent leverage. And here's the kicker: they vanish fast. No one thinks about them until they're gone. Stores don't restock them quickly, and even bulk packs get grabbed by smart preppers early. They're also killer barter items. Someone rips their pack during a supply run. You hand them a few pins, and suddenly, you're more valuable than the medic. So let me ask you, do you have them in your kit? Or are you counting on gear that never breaks? Because in a real collapse, it's not the big gear that saves you. It's the little things holding it all together. So now you know. When the headlines are quiet and the world's still pretending everything's fine, these are the items that vanish first. Not the flashy stuff. Not the viral prepper junk. Just the tools that actually keep you warm, clean, mobile, alert, alive. The things that vanish while you're sleeping, and no one notices until it's already too late. But here's the truth. This channel isn't here to sell you fear. We're not telling you to go buy every item today. We're telling you to know what matters. To understand what disappears first, so when you see the signs, you're already 2 steps ahead. While others panic, you'll be packing. While others beg, you'll be bartering. While others scroll headlines, you'll remember this list. So if you're the kind of person who prepares quietly, watches closely, and thinks months ahead instead of minutes late, hit that subscribe button right now. Not because of me, not because of some algorithm, but because the next time you hear silence, it might not be peaceful. It might be the sound of shelves going empty. And when is it? You'll know exactly what they forgot, and exactly what you stacked. This isn't entertainment. This is survival intel. Subscribe, lock in, and lead while the rest follow too late.